Happy Saturday, friends. Welcome back to John's Comics with Friends. This is the start of something a little bit new here on the YouTube channel. I hope people are excited for this. I want to start off with a little word of warning. It's not the end of Saturday Morning Comics. I know a lot of people love this show, and it's been fun spending the time with my girls. But as they've gotten older, I've really wanted to find a way to make this Saturday show something a little bit more community oriented. And I've been coming up with ideas of ways to connect with all these amazing friends I've made in this community and share some of those connections with all of you. And so this is the beginning of an ongoing new series here on my channel. It's not going to take the place of Saturday Morning Comics, but it'll certainly be something I can rotate in when I have the chance to sit down and chat with a friend of mine. And I'm very excited to introduce somebody with you guys today. So this is Where Are the Comics? Mostly because it's going to be a great chance to communicate with friends in the community, share their life journeys with you. And there'll be some comics along the way, some things to share along the way, but it's going to be more about a chance for you to meet some great community members, learn some cool things about their journeys, and I'm going to hopefully learn a whole bunch about them as well. And I think that's really the fundamental goal of doing these YouTube shows is this community that we've been growing as a group together. So that's kind of my point and purpose with this. I put a couple of links in the chat right now for you guys. One is the YouTube channel for today's guest. The other is their Instagram page because, gang, look, you need to save me some money. This gentleman has so many amazing comic books for sale right now on his Instagram page that if you guys don't snatch these up, I'm going to be in a lot of problems here. So I put the sales page for my man down below as well. If you are somebody looking for really great comics at a high grade, quality books, like that's the link to click on and save me some conversations with the wife. So that is much appreciated if you can do those things while we're chatting here. And of course, all those links are in the description for this video down below. So when it came time to come up with this show, to do this community interview show, this guy was the top of my list. And if you have been following my channel for a long time, you're familiar with Matt. But let me just say some really nice things before he comes on here, because, gang, if there's somebody that represents like the best of this community for me, it's Matt Gonzalez. Matt he's community oriented. He's super passionate about these characters in these books. He's compassionate. He's friendly. He's hardworking. He's fun. He's funny. He's encouraging. Like he definitely encouraged me in a lot of ways to do things I never would have done before. And I'm not this comic content creator guy without my friend here. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the boy who had 7.
You got me blushing so hard that you could see it all the way up here, man.
Brother, like you were a number one when it came to this idea, and I'm so glad not only that you were like interested, but that it was like, yeah, I hit you up on Monday, and you're like, yeah, let's do this on Saturday. We can do this on Saturday.
Man, it's just been such a long time, and I've been wanting to do this for about 5 years now that I'm like, all right, let's go. You invited me. Let's get it.
I love it, man. I love it. And so for people that don't know Matt, I guess I can give a little bit of an origin story for you as far as the comic community side. I know that you and I found each other through unboxing videos and stuff. We were watching one another's channels, and then you had this incredible idea for this show, Comic Gories, this wild, panic-stricken community competition show where people are running around getting covers for books and having only 60 seconds to find it. And I was helping out, running a timer and manually counting votes in the chat. Yes. And you and I, spent quite a considerable amount of time doing this show and having a blast together, and watching community members cut themselves on short boxes and drop slabs and jump into the screen with the comic books. Yes. And of course, you are an incredible family man, 7 gorgeous, amazing children in your household. You're a pillar in your community, a huge, a huge important person in your church, and you've taken time off over the last couple of years to do this incredible mission in your local community.
Yeah.
I mean, you when do you have time to sleep? Like, where like, my first question is how do you find time to do anything else?
Oh man, and I guess that's why you haven't seen me for so long. It's just you had to cut something out. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I sure miss you guys, and I miss Comic Gories, and I miss being on your channel weekly almost. Back in the day. And but man, I'm so excited to be here this morning and just to be hanging out.
Yeah, man, it's the best. So I'm just grateful that you're here and you're hanging out with us. We're gonna say hello to some friends in the chat, and then
All
we're
right,
gonna learn a little bit about Matt today. That's the goal this morning. And hopefully, we'll get through. I sent Matt 10 questions. I don't know if we'll get through all 10, but we'll see how far we can get before family obligations for us both start kicking in here. Ruben Guzman's in the chat. He just had his first Tiger Cub, so he is the boy who has one as of right now. So hope you're doing well, Ruben. JP's already heckling us in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. I hope you're doing all right. Matt won't be chatting much, replacing a ceiling fan while listening. Okay, hey, just deep breaths, buddy.
be safe.
We got Cliff in the chat. What's going on, Cliff? Happy Saturday, my friend. We got Wellbore in the chat. What's going on, Wellbore? Got Candace Barbosa. What's going on, Candace? Good to see you. We got Bleeker, Reverend Bleeker. What's going on, my buddy? He runs Comic Book Church on Sundays here, and everybody can come and worship, Jack Kirby and Stanley every Sunday on his channel. We got MJ Comics. What's going on, James? Thanks for coming by, friend. Justin Birch Letters. What's going on, Justin? Good to see you, sir. Dracula is in the chat. What is going on, Adrian? Thanks for coming around, man. Drew Manchu, baby. What is going on, Drew?
Long time no see.
I know we got some classic people coming out of the woodworks today. What's going on, Air Spider? Good to see you. Comic Boys, what's that? I feel like I've heard of it somewhere in the distant past. I see you. We got 9-panel grid. Eric is in the chat. What's going on? John introduced me to Comic Gories. It was epic. Yeah, I did send him some clips at one point just so he can know what that was. What's up, Mark McKeever? Good to see you, sir. Hope things are going well. I made Matt cry on his last live. Nothing I can say today will live up to that hype.
What's up, Air Spider?
I love it.
Matt does cry. He's known to cry.
No shame in that. No shame in that. I'm moving Matt into the driver's seat here because he's going to be showing some things off as we go along. But the first question that you wanted to get into, and the first one that I think sets the stage really well, is your origin. Like, right. So, what was the age in which you first discovered comics? What were you like at that age? What were you interested in? What was your family life? What were you like as a kid? How was that experience for you?
It's interesting. My kids are always telling me, Dad, I want you to write a story about your childhood because everybody would buy it. I was a mischievous,
I heard this.
crazy kid, man. I grew up in a household with mom and dad. Really blessed to have my parents. I love them both dearly. And 5 sisters. So I've got
one brother?
Yeah, the one brother, man.
And where did you fit in the 6?
So I've got 2 older sisters, 3 younger sisters.
Like right in the middle. I'm a middle child too, so this is why we connect.
That's right, man. So yeah, and you know what, man? I was sick and tired of playing Barbies. Like every day it was Barbies until I got my action figures. My dad decided to give me some He-Man action figures, some G.I. Joe action figures. And so I ended up turning Barbie time into, capturing these Barbies, putting them in danger, and other G.I. Joe guys save the day, right? Like, I could not do the Barbie thing anymore, but
I love it.
I loved growing up with my sisters. It was a blast. Had lots of fun. I discovered comics probably 9 years old. There's this local shop, and it was adjacent to a rental store. And so I was always torn between the two, going and picking up some NES games or going to this comic shop that was actually like a sports shop mainly, with some
Sure.
comics, you know. And I was a huge football fan. I played football since probably I was like 5 years old.
What was your team as a kid? What was the team you're cheering for?
So I was cheering for the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Half of
Ooh.
my family Cowboy fans here in Texas, right?
Yeah, that's a big rivalry. That's a big that's tough. That's you're right in the middle there. You're walking a line.
And not many people know this about me because I would never say I was a Cowboy fan. But we're going back to the origin, okay? So, I loved the Cowboys. I loved the Packers. About 1992, I said farewell to the Cowboys forever. And I am a huge,
Gotta pick a side, right?
yeah, you have to, man. But I loved watching football with my dad. Every time we went to his mom and dad's house, so grandma and grandpa's house, for every holiday, it seemed like there was sports on. So I just grew up watching sports, and it was something we did together. And I just looked forward to it every Sunday, watching the Packers play. Brett Favre back in the day, stuff like that.
I bet your dad was kind of like, I need some testosterone, Matt. You got to help me out here. Let's find a safe corner.
That's exactly what it was. Come over here. We're gonna watch sports, and we're gonna go outside and throw the ball and shoot the hoop.
I
So
respect it.
yeah, I just grew up loving watching sports, but I also played lots of sports. Like, because I was the only boy, Dad had me in baseball, he had me in basketball, he had me in soccer, he had me in football. But I was a big heavy boy, so they put me in football early,
Nice.
and I used to play for the East Side Raiders, man. And we were undefeated and never scored on for 5 years straight.
Dang.
Won the championship constantly. So
Wow.
little bragging going on right now.
Heck yeah.
So, but no, I grew up loving the game of football and playing it constantly. And eventually it was just baseball and football. And I was great at baseball. I was Grand Slam champion a couple years in a row. I was the pitcher. But
Nice.
then, I had to choose between the two, and I chose the more violent sport, which probably why I have so many injuries today.
Was it a desire to sort of be different with all the girls, like, in the household? Was it that impulse, or was it just like something about the game that really hooked you?
When I first started doing that, I remember crying because I had to go to practice, right? Like, little, like, oh, dad's making me do this, right? But
Right,
at
right.
some point, I just fell in love with the game of football. And I'll watch it to this day, and I'm just like blown away watching the game. And literally last Saturday, we're out at the local high school throwing passes with my kids. And of course, when I just take my kids, we can actually have a game.
I was
So
gonna say, you got a team.
those, and we brought one or two friends, so we had like 5-on-5 that quick.
I
And
love
so
it.
I just love playing it, and we still do it to this day. But that was like me. Sports was huge. And so when I went to these two places, it's either go rent a video game, like, from this local store, or go get some sports cards. Go pick up, Michael Jordan. Let's go get some Michael Jordan cards. You know what I
Heck
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I'm standing in there, and I see this. So this is the first thing I'm going to share today.
Oh, let's see
This
it.
is literally the first comic I ever purchased. Okay.
Hell
It's
yes.
Ghost Rider. Let me see if I can get that right. There we go. 35.
That's a great cover.
And man, I saw this, and I'm just like, that is awesome. Like,
Yeah,
look at that. I mean, Ghost Rider on fire on this motorcycle with this laser going through
that
his whole,
blast. Yeah, that red line is fantastic.
my goodness, man. And I mean, look at how beat up that thing is.
It's loved, man. It's been loved.
It's been heavily. I've read this book so many times, man, and I remember just seeing it there and asking mom if I could get it, and she kind of freaked out a little bit. It's a little scary,
Yep,
you know,
yep. A little violent.
little violent. And she let me get it, and I brought it home. And man, I just after that, I would go and I would, okay, am I getting a pack of cards today? Am I picking up a comic today? Am I grabbing a poster off of the wall? And so, I mean, when this happened, I was just immersed in the nerd world. So I'm talking
Sure.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, GI Joes, He-Man, Star Wars. I mean, I grew up. Oh man, I gotta tell you this too, because I was a huge Star Wars fan since I was about 5.
Nice.
Because I have sisters, I'm a very emotional guy, like Air Spider pointed out earlier. What's up, Perry? Um, I remember watching Return of the Jedi, and came out the year I was born. So this is about 5 years old. I'm watching it, and while they're fighting at the very end, Vader and Luke, he's like, "A sister, you have a
Yeah.
sister. If you
Yeah.
won't turn to the dark side, then maybe she." I remember just sitting there like bawling, like, "You cannot mess with my sister.
Don't touch my sister. Yeah.
Don't touch my sisters." I'm getting emotional now. Sierra Spider's not that hard. But I just love Star Wars. So what I started
Definitely.
doing is, not only was I battling between video game, a movie, comics, I wanted action figures, man. Like, and one of the cool things my dad would do is every Friday he'd take me to Toys R Us, and he'd say, "You can pick one thing here." You know? So I mean, and you probably remember back in the days the way Toys R Us was. Nothing like in the last 20 years, and
No.
obviously it doesn't exist anymore. I guess it's coming back, but uh, just you go back there in the late 80s, early 90s, and you just see rows of action figures. And you got Batman Aquatic guy, a Batman with his shiny suit on, Batman with his regular suit. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep. Yeah.
I
It
had
was
a
Candyland.
yes, and I could only choose one, and so that was
Yeah.
teaching me to pace myself. But what I ended up probably spending most of my choices on was picking up action figures, man. And so I had Ninja Turtles, GI Joes, Star Wars, Dragon Ball Z, man. Like, I had different kinds of action figures, and I would set up my room, and I mean take an hour or two to make bases and everything, right? And then I would
Love
just
it.
by myself reenact this amazing story that came to my mind.
My brothers and I would do get the GI Joes and take them apart and reassemble them. I don't know if you ever had the eyeglasses screwdriver that you could take the screw out and then move the
Yes.
pieces and make your own guys.
Yeah.
So in the end, when I went through my mom's house when she moved, we had all the Joes, but none of them were the correct parts. Like, it was always an amalgam of three other guys.
That's awesome, man. Speaking of Joe's, I it was so sad. We moved when I was in second grade to a new
Okay.
home, and then I grew up in that home and then left the house. My parents still live there to this day. But before we left, the night before, I went outside and I had my GI Joes and everything, and I put them in the dirt and stuff, and I'm just playing. And my mom's like, "Bring those inside because we're moving tomorrow. Like, this is the last day." And I'm like, "All right, I got it." And I didn't remember till like 2, 3 weeks later.
Oh my
And I'm like,
God.
"Mom, my GI Joes are at the old house." And we went over there, and the people had thrown them away already and everything. And so, I mean, and I probably
That's
left like
rough.
a good 20, 25 with little characters, vehicles, everything. And
Oh
it was
man.
perfect. The dirt in the backyard, like, this is where you got to play.
That's rough.
So
Oh man.
my first GI Joe heartbreak right there.
Oh, I mean, my little brother, he always liked to build a furnace and try to start fires and throw them in. So I was always trying to save them, like Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. I was trying to save them from the fiery pit.
I love that. I
We
love
got some other friends jumping in the chat, like Perry. I didn't say hello to Perry. What's going on, Perry?
it.
Crazy man. And we got Ian. What's up, strange dog? Good to see you, Ian. And we got Rod the
Hey,
Rican in the chat.
what's up, Rod?
Good to see you, Rod. And Greg, the bearded comic bro. What's going on, Greg?
Hey, Greg.
Good to see all you guys. He says, "What was the favorite action figure crossover you invented when you were playing?" I mean, GI Joe would be with everybody, so it was always GI Joe first, but GI Joe Transformers was always a favorite of mine. I don't know about you,
That's cool, man.
but they were
Yeah,
always seemed like they meant for each other.
I didn't ever do that, man. And now I'm like, man, what did I miss out on?
Like TMNT came a little late. I was on the tail end of that, and then I was aging out of action figures when that
Yeah,
happened.
that's how
Um,
Power Rangers is with me. Like, I Power Rangers was right after my time.
sure.
So even my wife, she's a little bit younger than I am, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I used to watch Power Rangers." Like, no, that was I was too old. I was too cool, too old for that. Sorry if I offend anybody there. great now. I've actually read quite a few comics, you
No,
know.
it's where you were at that right time, right? It's kind of like the Star Wars movies. You know, you can tell the age of the fan based on which movies they want to watch first, right? Where their joy lies. You know.
When I was little, man, I was a huge Michael Jackson fan. I forgot to share that. And so much so that I'd put tape on my fingers. I would wear one of my mom's gloves around the house, you know.
I love it. I
And when
love it.
I had hair, believe it or not, I used to have,
Yeah.
I would get Vaseline, slick it back, you know. I remember my mom found me like that, was not happy. And I loved music too. Music was a big thing.
I was
Oh,
gonna ask you because I know from just having spent time with you,
yeah,
the love of 80s music specifically. Like I know you, The Cure. I know you are like, and I grew up in that era, but I had a love for older music. I met my wife, and she is the biggest Duran Duran fan I know. Like she is obsessed.
awesome.
And every time she gets a new car or gets a new, something that plays music, she's busting out Rio and playing it on the device just to see how it
Oh,
sounds. She's
yeah,
got two turntables and she can no microphone. And she definitely is like, so I know music for her seems to be something similar for you as far as just this touchstone. And for those that don't know, he's also got a ton of videos on his YouTube channel with his kids jamming. Man, you guys jam. So like I guess like let's talk a little music. Like what are some touchstones for you musically, and what does music mean for you?
yeah. So my dad loves to sing, and he has a really good voice. And so I have memories, and I don't know how old I was, but probably between 3 to 5. And I could see my dad singing in the kitchen to my mom. And he's a huge Chicago fan. So
Nice.
he's always singing for Chicago. Tell a funny story about them. My parents met in middle school and they kind of fell in love then. So pretty interesting, right?
Hmm.
And when they started dating in high school, my dad wrote my mom and said, "I wrote this poem for you," but it was a Chicago song, right? So he gives it to her, totally lied to her, what a sucker. So she loves it, she cherishes it, and my mom's the type of person that is very intelligent, so she puts it on her brain, right? It's there, and then all of a sudden they're out on a date, and
No,
she's
no.
dog flag, and she's like, "What?" So she was mad at him for quite a while, but
I'm sure that still comes up.
yeah, we talk about it all the time. But no, I grew up and my dad's listening to music. We've got Chicago on, and he was a huge Tears for Fears fan. And so I just remember being so little and hearing Tears for Fears, hearing Michael Jackson, hearing Chicago. And so many of my favorite memories have to do with music. For instance, because we battle about this all the time, Christmas music, right? I'm all about Christmas music in July.
Yep,
Uh,
yep.
I will say this: there is a Nat King Cole song, the Christmas song.
Yeah.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Right?
Yeah.
I cannot start Christmas morning without putting that song on to wake everybody up. So my kids, for the last three for 23 years since my wife and I have been married, on Christmas morning, that song is just blasting throughout the house, right? And it's because my dad did the same thing to us growing up. I just always heard that song. And so, yeah, I just grew up and some of my favorite moments, there's music in the background. And then those
But those
songs
are those are
connected.
the special traditions, right? I mean, like my dad, it was Mele Kalikimaka, like that was his like song, and he would play it on a loop. So you're like, Dad, this song's only 2 minutes long. Like
Yeah,
we need it's fine. Like I don't nothing against it, but
yeah,
after an hour, every 2 minutes of it playing, you need a second song.
yeah. No, for real, man. So you got scars from that one. But yeah,
Um,
man. So I grew up and when I started getting into my own music, it was things like Oasis and it was Green Day, Bush, a
yep,
lot of 90s grunge, right?
sure.
Because I was coming into my teenage years in the early 90s, right? And so that's what's out and love it to this day. Yesterday I actually spent like 2 hours with my kids just playing those songs.
Nice.
But but one day my sister, she's dating this older guy, and she comes into my room and she throws a bunch of CDs on my bed. And she's like, I hate him. And they had broken up, right? And she's like, I don't want this. You want these? I'm like, yeah, I'll take them. Like, so brand new CDs, like, please give them, you know? So she gives me The Cure, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me CD. So I'm sharing the album with you.
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
And this has my favorite song on it all time because what I did is I took that CD, looked through it, I'm like, this song sucks. This song sucks. This song sucks. Oh, I like this song. And it's Just Like Heaven. And,
Yeah.
and Just Like Heaven is my favorite song of all time. I've probably listened to that song good 10,000 plus times in my life. You know, I just can't get enough of that song.
But it's
And
like a favorite movie or a favorite book or whatever, like, it just speaks to you, right?
it does, man. It speaks to every part of me, the lyrics, the sound, the melody, his voice, you know. And so I fell in love with that one song on that album. And then she also gave me Boys Don't Cry. And I just fell in love with Boys Don't Cry on that album, right?
Yeah.
And so um, she gave me a couple other songs, albums, which were the Smiths, some Depeche Mode, and those are my three favorite bands of all time because that.
Wow, what a moment though, right? What a linchpin moment that like your sister
Yeah,
unknowingly participated in.
yes. And so, I mean, to this day, my kids laugh at me because they're like, Dad, have you heard this new song? And I don't listen to the radio. I don't listen to, I don't even know if radio is a thing anymore, but I just, you want to see my playlist? It's Smiths, Depeche Mode, and a whole bunch of 80s music, man, you know? And so I just started collecting The Cure. I'd go get an album and I'd sit in my room. And you remember back in the day, you'd open the CD case,
Yeah.
pull out
The liner notes.
yep, and there's the lyrics, right? So I would lie on my bed listening to this new song, reading the lyrics along with it, man. And I just would collect an album and I would just fall in love with it. And then I'd go collect another album. And then, you know, and so I did that with The Cure, the Smiths, Depeche Mode, Erasure. Who else do I love? Pet Shop Boys, Duran Duran, right? Like, and so all that 80s music, that retro, that's me, man.
But I think it's that era whenever it clicked with you, right? Whenever it made that connection, and obviously your sister being a huge part of that. That's fantastic. What a great thing to share.
Yeah.
My brother had a similar experience with my sister where she loaned him all these CDs and then somebody broke into his car and stole them. And then he didn't have a lot of money. So every birthday or Christmas for her, he would buy her another one of her CDs back.
Oh, there's that guy that broke into his car, man.
She was so pissed at him for so long because she's like, great, another one of my CDs. And it's like, you know, it's like 10 years later. He's like, here's that Milli Vanilli CD again. Here's that Vanilla Ice CD that you really wanted back.
It was probably a lot cheaper by the time he got to it, though. So
I mean, maybe.
yeah.
We got Coach Vic joining us. What's going on, Vic?
Definitely
Good to see you.
Definitely.
And Bueller, what's going on, Bueller? Good to see you, my friend. And Kenneth Bird jumped in here. What's going on, Kenneth?
Kenneth.
And Roscoe. What is going on, Roscoe? Hope things are going well, man. Well, that's awesome. And I knew going in that music question was specifically for you because I just knew seeing not only like all your posts on Instagram where you're using, you know, that Tears for Fears song or whatever, but then the stuff you do with your kids. I just want to a little bit touch on that because you know, you mentioned earlier like crying to have to go to practice. That was me having to be forced to play an instrument as a kid. Like I just was like, you know, they'd set the timer for 30 minutes and I'd be like, da-da-da-da, and then I'd run in and move the timer over a little bit and run back. Da-da-da-da. I just, you know, I would be a band if I could play all the instruments that they tried to foist on me as a kid. Cause it was like guitar, drum, the piano, a saxophone, trumpet. Like I just, and I play nothing. I'm so musically uninclined. But for your family, it seems like this amazing community joining thing. What has it meant for you as a parent now, like with your kids with music? How does that come together? Because it seems like so much fun. The videos you guys post where you're jamming together seems so wonderful.
Yeah. So there's a phone going off in the background. Can you hear that? Is that going to get in the way?
No, you're good.
So let me go back. When I was in third grade, I joined the choir, right, in my elementary school. But in that choir, man, it was like a big thing. Like I don't know if today they do choir like they did back then, but back then it was a lot. And It might be an alarm. John, let me go stop this real quick. Okay, sorry about that.
No worries. No, Air Spider, I was not going to be I was not going to be on that level. Never going to be on that level. I mean, I wish. That's an incredible amount of talent. Yeah, my wife could be mixing. You never know. She definitely has, the turntables are still there. She definitely has one in the garage and one in the living room, and she's got all her records she's still rocking. Oh, Bueller says, I still have the book that you gave me 3 years ago when we had lunch, still on my bus. Thank you.
That's awesome. I gave him a copy of a book I'm going to share a little bit later.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But yeah, so anyways, oh my goodness. There's alarms going off all around.
Trying to keep you on time. I know how hard that is.
Yes. But no, my wife's doing some supplements with the kids, and let me see.
Got to get them nutrient filled, man.
Except I have no idea where this is coming from. Anyways,
so you were talking about being in the choir and how that kind of made an impact on you.
Yeah, it did, man. I just fell in love with singing. And I mean, I started singing the national anthem in front of this, game. And then I started going to this festival and singing it. And I don't know if you ever heard of the Vienna Boys Choir.
I have.
Yeah. So they reached out to me probably in like 5th grade. And they're like, we would love you to come to school and to sing with us.
Get out. Come on.
Yeah. I got a cool story about music. Well, I'll just share it now. So that was cool. My parents were like, no, we're not moving to you can go for that. We're staying here. So thank you, but no thank you, And after that happened, I just kind of grew up doing the choir thing. So I went to high school and did choir. I went to state and made it at state and with my voice and things and just learned to read music and to sing, all kinds of choir music, right? But I was not into playing an instrument or anything like that, right? Oh, John, I gotta get this alarm.
Yeah, you're good, buddy. Don't worry about it.
This is ridiculous.
We got Callie jumping in the chat. What's going on, Callie? We got Dr. Doom's fan club. What's going on, Stu? Happy 5th of July to you, Stu. I hope things are going all right. And yes, Carlito Classico. Good to see you, Carlito.
Hey, Carlito, what's up, man? So I decided, you know what? I am going to learn to play the guitar my junior year of high school. So I picked up this actual guitar that's right next to me right now. Right. Let me show it to you because it has a sticker that's been sitting there for years, obviously.
Oh, and it's got the Cure sticker on it. I love it.
So, I picked that up. And one day I'm at a birthday party. And this is a crazy story. And it reminds me of Jem Mint. He recently dropped a video on his channel telling everybody how he started out as a rapper. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have not seen it.
To be a rapper, he actually has music that's out there, and he has ties with rappers today, which I don't know many rappers. I'm not in the rap world, but it was interesting, and I thought I should share that. But check this out. I'm at this birthday party, and I start singing Happy Birthday by myself to the girl, Happy birthday to you, right? All 90s, like, R&B style. And after I finish, everyone's clapping, and her sister comes up to me. She's like, man, you sing really good. I'm like, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And she's like, no, I mean, you sing good. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah. She's like, I got to be honest with you. I'm the photographer for NSYNC. And I'm like, wait, what? And I loved boy bands back in the day because that's what my voice was, right? And I would sing it to all the ladies at school until I met the girl who had 7. I don't want to get killed. But she's like, yeah, I actually took the cover, the picture for the cover on this album. And she's like, I've been around them a lot. I hear them sing, and your voice is right up there with them. And I know their manager. She's like, what do you think if I go record a video with you or an album with you this week, and I take some professional photos of you and I send them to this guy? And I'm like, no way. I'm like, I'm 16 at the time. And I'm like, let's go. So we go to this local recording house. We record a couple songs and just some Backstreet Boys songs, some some Depeche Mode songs. Like, I'm like trying to just throw a mix out there. She takes all these photos. My parents get me a bunch of different outfits, and we do a photo session. And then about 2 weeks later, this guy calls over the phone. He's like, I'd like to speak to Matt, and I'm like freaking out. My girlfriend's there, my wife now. And he's like, I would like to offer you a contract. We're making a new boy band. and we would like you to come here, move to Florida, and be a part of this new journey.
What?
So yeah, so my dad gets on the phone, and my dad's like, "Thank you, but no, thank you."
Oh,
My dad's like, "Matt, there's no way I'm signing you over to any music."
to some faceless,
Yes,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and the guy's name was Lou Proman. If you look up Lou Proman,
Yeah, I think I've heard of this guy. He's kinda sleazy.
yes, he is. He was NSYNC, Backstreet Boys manager.
Yeah.
He has his own like Netflix show right now where he did a whole bunch of bad stuff.
Eesh.
So, but
Your
I was,
dad made a great call,
yeah, he did, right? At the time, I was ticked off,
I'm
man. I was
sure.
so ticked off. Like, I'm gonna be in the next boy band, right? Like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime, Dad. Like, what are you thinking? I was so angry, man.
Oh,
And looking back now, seeing everything that's come out with Lou Proman, seeing
right.
all the things that people like Justin Bieber or stuff have been through in the Hollywood and music industry, right?
Sure.
Knowing that I have my wife and my 7 kids, man, I wouldn't give that up for the world.
Yeah.
There goes my emotions again. So,
Look at James is like, "I'm 37, I still wanna be in a boy band."
yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
So, yeah, man, so I was mad for a while, but, looking at it today, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I didn't go there, that my life
Sure.
in that direction. So
Well,
anyways, I
yeah,
started
that's
playing guitar,
fantastic.
singing all the time. My wife got pregnant, and my kids, all 7 of them, have heard me singing and playing the guitar since the time they're in the womb
I love
to
it.
yesterday, right? Like, me play this whole time. And so, eh, when they got into um, elementary, we would not push them, but invite them to go to choir and invite them to go to sports. And so, in our home, it's been sports and music. And just like you, we kind of invite them to do things. And so my boys, it's interesting. My boys have been like, no, we're not so excited about sports, Dad. We're just gonna go and do music. And so, like my oldest, he plays the violin, he plays the piano, and he's a huge theater guy. He just has been in every play, and he loves it. And now that he's an adult, he's gonna go try out and do plays here in town and in
That's
college.
fantastic.
So he loves that. My second son, he's a skater, which I cannot do. I will break my ankle if I get on a skateboard.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even answer the door this week, so I get it, like
Yeah, right. But he plays the guitar, and he's awesome at that. And then my next son, Aaron, he's the one that plays the drums, and he tried
yes.
football a little bit, and he was like, I like it, but I don't. I'm just going to stick with the drums. And so he did marching band all throughout high school,
And
and
then Ammon was the one singing with you in the new video,
yes,
right?
yeah, he's
He's
my
got
old.
a great voice.
He does, and so I always told him develop your voice, and he didn't want to. He just wanted to stick with theater. And so instead of doing musicals or whatever, he'd always just do the plays. And so I recently told him, dude, you have the talent there. You just don't know how to use it. You gotta just start learning to use it, start breaking off that roughness and get it. So he came over there today. He's like, Dad, I want to sing this song and put it on your YouTube channel. I'm like, let's do it. You
That's
know,
cool.
so we did that, and guys, go check that out. He's learning to use
Yeah,
his voice, and I love hearing some of the gems and his vibrato in there. It's just beautiful.
for sure.
And and then my youngest, he is a sports guy. He plays football, but he's 6 foot tall. He weighs 290 pounds. Like, Tony
Ooh,
is a big boy. So,
nice.
but he also sings. He has the voice out of the boys in the family, and he does music. He does musicals and theater as well. So he was just in
For him,
Anastasia.
what a well-rounded kid.
Yeah, he was just in Anastasia, and he played Dimitri, the main character for the
Yeah.
girls. Super
Wow.
proud of him, watching him sing up there, and then he's also on the football field throwing people over. So,
That's fantastic.
but my daughters, they're all huge sports girls. My oldest played soccer. She actually got invited to play for the U.S. Women's training team. And
That's
so,
cool.
year she did that, though, we were playing Thanksgiving football, because every Thanksgiving we go play football with everyone from our family and church and neighborhood. And the first pass, I had her go run a long bomb before she was too warmed up, and she ripped her quads.
Oh my gosh. Oh, poor
She
girl.
she hurt herself pretty bad, and she never was able to play her senior year, and she lost that opportunity. And so we
Oh,
we were just devastated, man. So
Sure, that's got to be so hard for her.
yes. And then my two youngest, which are the babies, so it's boy, girl, boy, 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 girl, girl, right? The two babies, they were in middle school last year, and they both played soccer, they both played basketball, and they both did track. And
Wow.
yeah, and what's really cool is my youngest, she went out and tried shot put and discus, and she won first place in the entire district in both.
Good for her.
That was just, and then her big sister Emma won second place in discus in the district. So we love sports. We push our kids to do that. You learn discipline. You learn how to work your body.
I was hard on my dad, but he definitely, he had his big three. He had, you had to play a sport year round, no off seasons, right? You had to play a musical instrument, which obviously I wasn't doing a great job at, but I was putting in the quote time.
Yeah,
And then you had to have grade point average of a certain level. Those were his requirements for living under his roof, right?
love it.
And I'm glad for how well rounded it made me and my brothers.
Yeah.
And like you said, at the time I couldn't appreciate it. At the time, it was just felt like a lot of work around stuff that I didn't really want to do. But he was always willing to consider. So like when I said, look, I wanted, instead of an off-season sport, I want to do the school musical. Like, can I swap this for that? And he was like, if you want to do it, it's the same time, equivalent. So I'll let you give it a shot. And then that became then it was like year-round theater, like your oldest. And that was the thing. And he
I
was encouraging. What's that?
I didn't know that about you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was already in the AV department at the school, and the guy who ran that also ran the theater productions, and he always needed more guys to be in the musicals. So it was like he was auditioning. He's like, "Hey, any of you guys, you get extra credit if you audition for the musical."
Yes.
And then I was in the musical, and then I was, after that I was in two more musicals with him, a couple of plays, and it was like then it was all AV and theater rather than track and cross country, which is what I had kind of been doing in school, just because it was a co-ed sport, and I was like, let's exercise with the ladies all day.
Awesome.
I'm not going to play I'm not going to play a sport where it's just the dudes. Like, let's do a co-ed sport.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. One day I'm playing the guitar. And it's a Cure song called "Push," and it's got a little bit of a complicated solo. And it took me months to learn it because I didn't grow up learning music, right? So I was teaching myself, and I'm playing it, and this is I've been playing the guitar for 10 years by this point, but still I taught myself. So and then I put my guitar down, I go to the other room, and I start doing some YouTube stuff, and then all of a sudden I hear the song playing in the other room, and I'm like, did my kids find the song and start playing it on their iPad or whatever? And I go over there, and my daughter had picked up my guitar that I put down and had just from watching me started playing it.
Dang.
That is
Wow.
the day when I was like, I can have a family band. So not only do we have our kids in sports, but when they get to sixth grade, they have to do some type of musical instrument. So most of them have chosen orchestra. So Elise has been playing the cello for 3 years. And when she saw me play the guitar, she's like, that looks kind of easy. And just picked it up and literally, so to this day, her brain, which I love, love, love it so much. She has come to understand music theory.
Okay.
So music theory is completely different than reading some notes. Like she
Sure.
understands the way music goes together. So we'll be, getting ready to have band practice as a family. And I'm like, Lise, how do I play this? And I've been playing for 20 something years now. And she's like, okay, yeah, this is what you do, and I'm just like, you are the best ever,
That's cool. When
So
they look at it a different way, right? And your kid sees it in a different view.
Yeah. So she
That's
drives
cool.
our music whenever we do that. And so during COVID, we obviously had time on our hands. And so I'm like, let's start making music together, So we bought some instruments for all the kids that we didn't have and to fill in, and then just started playing music, man. And we've been doing that since, and it's so much fun. Just
You guys look like you're having a blast every time.
watching my kids progress in their own talents.
Sure.
It's one of the best things. It is the best thing in the world, and to see us come together and be unified, and then we bring in a friend here or a boyfriend or a girlfriend there, and it's just they start being a part of the band and adding what they can. It's just so much fun, man.
So when is the Gonzalez music tour start? Like when does
I know.
when
I know, right? Well, what was it? 2 years ago, or maybe was it last year? I can't remember. We did my birthday bash, and we played a whole set of, I think, like 18 songs, and we strum it. We strum it like strum it. We streamed it on
Oh
my
yeah.
and that was a lot of fun. But we're already coming up with songs that we're going to do for a new set, and we're going to start practicing that. So that should be coming out in the next
That's awesome.
6 months. You know?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, man. I love doing that with my kids. It is just the best.
Well, I'm gonna skip question 7 and do 3 because we're kind of into the family pet life thing, and I know that obviously the names of both of our channels to start were centered around family, and that question
Yes.
is the core of like what I think we connected over at the beginning is, being dads and sharing these things with our kids. And I obviously know it is a huge grounding force for you in your life, this incredible partner that you've got in your life and these amazing 7 kids that she's gifted you with.
Yeah.
Like is there firstly, I guess, like how is, I know I've watched you with Green Lantern, sharing Green Lantern with your son. I've seen like ways in which you're bringing them into this hobby for you, or at least sharing that joy, that enthusiasm. And then where are the parent figures in comics that you're like, do this, don't do that? Like, what are the where are the parenting influences for you in that world?
So the day my oldest was born, we well, not the day he was born, but maybe whatever he came home, his first day home into our apartment. We were living in Utah at the time, and we were super young. I mean, the girl who had 7 and I got married at 18 and 17. So now as a parent with 20-year-olds and 18-year-olds, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I met my wife when I was 19, so like I'm
You
not
feel
far
it.
off.
You feel it.
Yeah.
We were so young, man. But we brought him home, and the first thing I did is I took a lightsaber and put it on his little lap, little Padawan braid, and put it in his ear. And
You did not. You
took
did
a
not.
picture, man. Yes.
That's hilarious.
So my kids have grown up watching Star Wars, watching Lord of the Rings, watching
love it.
Dragon Ball Z. There's a scene in Dragon Ball Z which I don't think you've ever watched it. Have you, John?
I never have.
There is a special move that the main character Goku has called the Spirit Bomb, and what he does is he puts his hands up in the air, okay, and he begins to gather the righteous spirit of everyone on the planet, and it begins to gather into this power ball above him, right? And so it's just the coolest move, right? And so there are videos you will watch with me. My wife walks into the room, and me and my kids have our hands up in the air like this, right? All my little kids are around me, like giving energy to go through so he can gather our spirit for the spirit bomb.
I love it.
They have grown up with all this stuff. And when it comes to comics, I would always just read them the comics that I had. And in 2015, I think it was, when right after Man of Steel came out. I can't remember what year that is. Do you remember what year that was?
So
I can't.
it's somewhere in there, yeah. I'd
Yeah.
say, yeah, maybe a little earlier, but right in there.
Yeah, 2013, 2014, something like that. I was like, you know what? I need to go look at my comics again and read these with my kids. Like, we just watched the movie. Let's go do this. And so
Yeah.
I told my kids, let's go to a comic shop and try to find the rest of the story so we can read it together. And so we did. We just started going to comic shops around town, and at the time there were like 8 in my city, and now there's only like 4, which is really sad. A lot of them have closed.
That's too bad.
But yeah, so we started doing that, and then I just really started falling in love with my comics again and reading them with my kids. And so at some point I had all 7 of my kids, and then they each had their own series that they were reading with me. And so we would just sit down on the bed or the kitchen countertop or the dinner table, and we just read these books together,
That's
and
so
then
cool.
started doing the YouTube thing, and you saw how I'd have them in different channels, different shows and reading different things. And so, man, it's just been so much fun. And still some of them, like you saw Ammon was in my last 2 videos. He's like the oldest, he's 23. He's like, "I wanna do YouTube with you, dad." The other kids, I'm like, "Hey, come do a video with me." "No, that's lame." Like, you know?
Well, and I think you and I were on the same page as far as like you don't want to force anything,
Yeah,
right? You know, I'm the first to admit my girls hate X-Men, and I'm the X-Men head, but like they don't want it, they don't care about it. I mean, they don't hate it. They like Hugh Jackman enough, but but
yeah,
but like they're Charlie's choosing Archie, and she's all into it, and Kate is doing Raina Telgemeier graphic novels or whatever, and it's like
cool.
I just was trying to meet them where they were at, and if that was their interest, like share it with me, like let's get into it. And
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to like force you got to read this X-Men book, you got to. Instead, it was just more engaging with them in their interests.
I love it, man. And I mean, that's the best thing is just us hanging out and spending that time together, and
Right?
it's been really cool, but I'm gonna be honest, man. I am a person that's all about goodness in the world and being the Boy Scout and doing things with moral clarity and direction. And so if there's any parent that I'm gonna love, it's this dude right here.
Heck yes.
You know what I mean? Like Superman is the man. And a lot of people don't like him for that reason because he's boring, right? Like he's always gonna be the moral guy that does the right thing, right? Like, and I've heard a lot of people say Superman's character is boring. But his parents were incredible. They raised him like me. I bleed red, white, and blue, man. Right? And I love morality and doing things for the right reason, no matter who you make angry. If you do what's right, it's always right.
Well,
And
and
then
you got me into Super Sons and that incredible like dynamic that's obviously right there on that cover. It's so joyous and wonderful, and that there's an omnibus for that whole Super Sons. It's
yes,
so phenomenal.
yes. And that's why I was looking at this book and I thought I have connections with John with this, but also it fits with your question. You got Superman who, even though he's this amazing, almost perfect character, he has a kid and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
Because none of us do.
because none of us do. And Batman's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And you just see the dynamic, and then these two young, innocent, but good kids, like, well, Damien, not so innocent, but still innocent because he wasn't raised the right way. It's just like such a beautiful dynamic. And I thought I'd share that, man. Like,
That's a great one. And yeah, Vicky is selling. If you guys need that book, check out the Instagram I linked below because he's
my
got.
own personal copy and
I
the
was
one
gonna say he's probably got several copies of that one.
I do. But yeah, man,
But yeah,
I
great
want
parents.
the best dad I can be. In high school, they came to me and they said, "We're gonna put you in the yearbook," and my wife and I, we would win cutest couple, most likely couple to get married throughout the 4 years, or
I
three
love
years.
it.
And but they came to me one time, they're like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I can go find my high school yearbook, and it'll show you a good dad. That is what I have always wanted to be. And have I
That's
always been
amazing.
the best dad? No. Fail all the time. But that's why I love the Super Sons, because you're seeing these characters that are created to be just amazing superheroes
For
still
sure.
struggle with their own children, with their own selves, dealing with their children, right? And so I've learned that I can't be too hard on myself, but I do have to have high expectations, and I do have to spend time, because that's how you really spell love, you know?
Yeah, that's the most valuable commodity you can give your kids for sure.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, man.
Oh, great answer. Great answer. We skipped over one that I know you prioritized in the 10 questions I sent you. What is the best place you've ever been in the world, and how has traveling impacted you? Because I'm a big proponent of experiencing the world and culture, and how that changes how you view humanity, how you connect with people, how you relate. And I speak almost 3 languages. Like, I love the interconnection. I say almost because my German is good enough that I can get by, but it's spotty.
I like
Um,
I like it.
and I think that traveling and being immersed in those cultures is impactful. You have this incredible thing with your kids through your faith, where they go on these missions and they experience the world at large in such a real, amazing way. And I'm just curious, in your travels, what's been that place that's meant so much to you, and what does traveling mean to you?
Yeah. Well, you're gonna laugh at me when I give you the answer to this, but before I get into that, I did wanna touch on the missions. Like
Yeah.
with our church, we have a duty as men to go serve a mission, right? We feel it's like a priesthood duty. It's a commandment from God. And then the girls are invited to do it if they want to. And so in my family, I have several family members that have gone. I didn't personally serve a mission because I got married so young, right? And so the one thing above a mission is being a dad, right? So that's what I did.
Well, and the service you've been doing to your church the last few years is a whole other mission, right?
Absolutely.
We've talked about that a few times, you and I.
Yeah. But I just want to share some of the cool places my kids and our family members have been. So my oldest son is serving a service mission here in El Paso.
Yes.
So what he does is he stays here and he finds different charitable organizations and he goes, or service organizations, and he goes and he works there. And he's literally doing that for 2 years. And he gets there, and I mean, he goes to the food bank, he goes to the Humane Society, he goes to the zoo, he goes to the library, and he's there all day long working,
That's cool.
helping, doing all kinds of stuff. So he gets to experience the service part of it. My other son went to California, real close to you, right?
Hey.
So he's there. My sister went to Bakersfield, California. My other little sister went to Boston, Massachusetts, and learned Portuguese, met her husband there, and now they're married and working on starting their family, right? So my cousin went to Japan. My other cousin went to Taiwan. My brother-in-law went to Greece, Athens. My other brother-in-law went to Guatemala. My other brother-in-law went to Paris, France, right?
Wow.
And so you see all these things, and then they come home and they just share these pictures, these experiences,
Sure.
and they just love doing that. So it's been really cool to see that happen. Now, for me, John, I got married, like I said, really young, had our son like 4 months, 5 months later, right? So we didn't ever get to go on a honeymoon. And because of that, my wife and I have been having kid after kid after kid. And we haven't traveled much, man, to be honest with you.
That makes sense.
We have not traveled much. There are dreams that I have of my dream destination would be Japan.
Yeah.
I love everything to do with the Japanese culture, with samurai and stuff like that. I want to learn the Japanese language, but I do want to go all over the world. But I will say this: I've traveled to some places that have blown my mind, and I want to share that with you.
Please, yes.
One of them has been Middle Earth.
Where's Lady Fantastic? She needs to be here for this.
Another one is Narnia. I've even been to Forks. Okay. The best place.
I was going to say, where's it at?
The best place I've ever been is Hogwarts, man. Okay. This is how I travel, man. All right.
I love it.
This is the book that I gave to Bueller. And I said, I know the world says Harry Potter's a kid's book. Please read it. Please read it, right?
That's a fantastic answer, man.
I had to, man.
No, I mean it's so in keeping with our relationship too, and our love for those universes. But also, like, what a great time to be. You talked about like sharing some of the stuff with your kids. What a great time to be a kid and be able to, like, when I was a kid reading Lord of the Rings, it was all my imagination. Although there was those animated movies, but we don't try not to talk about them too much. But then in 2001, 2, and 3, all of a sudden I can go to the theater and I can see it, right, writ large. And Harry Potter the same way, Narnia same way, right? Like, to see it done that way and be able to experience it is it's a whole other thing. But so then pick one. Which universe you going to live in? If Matt's taking the family and they're gonna live in one of those universes, what's the one?
Oh man, Harry Potter. It's crazy because like I told you, I grew up a Star Wars fan. It means so much to me. I've never cried harder than when Anakin killed younglings. Like, I can't explain to you what that did to me in the theater when I watched that. The lady in front of me turned around. She's like, "Are you okay? Are you gonna have a heart attack?" Like, You don't understand. Like, I do understand. I'm watching this. But no, like I grew up Dragon Ball Z. As soon as I started reading the Harry Potter books,
Yeah.
it changed me, man.
It
And
transports you. Yeah.
it's so fantastic. I can't get enough of it. And when I finished it for the first time, I cried, not because I'd accomplished something, not because I'd finished reading this incredible book. It's because it wasn't real, John.
Because you recognized.
Yes. And then I heard Dumbledore in my head. Just because it's happened in your head doesn't mean it's not real, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll take it. But
Yeah.
I love Harry Potter so much. And you asked this question earlier. How did I get my name? The boy who had 7, right? We took first title of the first chapter in Harry Potter, which is The Boy Who Lived. And then I have 7 kids. And my son, Tony, actually came up with the name. He said, Dad, you love Harry Potter so much and you have 7 kids. Why don't you put them together and be called The Boy Who Had 7? And I thought, you are brilliant, young child.
That's so good. It's so great. It's so great.
And so it's my Harry Potter family name, The Boy Who Had 7.
Love it. I
But
love
yeah,
it.
I literally I read Harry Potter at least once a year. Last year I read it 4 times, and people started thinking I was crazy for doing that. But John, every time I read it, I figure out something new.
There's a ton to take away. There's a ton of deeper meaning, and character journeys are so meaningful. And yeah, I mean, you and I've chatted about it ad nauseum.
Yeah.
There's some love going on in the chat for you. Obviously, Carlito Classico saying some really great things about you, which is rare. He's probably not half awake. I don't know what he's usually not so sincere, Carlito.
Love you, man. That's kind.
And we got Adam Daymers. He says, just saw the 2 of you and thought it must be a Comic-Gories episode.
Yes. Which would have been fun to freak everybody out at the beginning.
Right. All of a sudden, just like, you got 60 seconds starting now.
And then for us, you're just still kind of sitting there waiting,
Oh, I wanted to get to the next question is about gaps in collecting. And I think all of us have those times. You discover girls, you have a family, you're off to college, whatever it is, those gaps in collecting, I think, are just real natural. And I'm just curious if you've had any of those gaps, and then is there a comic that brought you back, something that represents that time in your life when you were coming away from comics and then back to it again?
Yeah. So I pretty much explained this already, but you get married at 18, right? You have your first child. You don't have a college education. You don't have a lot of money. You don't have money to spend on comic books because you got to put food in the fridge. So, I got married. We had 7 of our kids in 9 years. Okay. So our 7 kids in 9 years, it was wild, expensive.
Sure.
And I will say this, it's more expensive now. I thought it was going to get easier. It's crazier.
It doesn't get better with cars and car insurance in college. It doesn't get better.
Enjoy the diaper phase, people. Enjoy it. So obviously I stopped collecting, and I would pick up books every once in a while to show the kids and to read to them. But really, man, I didn't have the money. And so 2008, I started my own business and started getting a little bit more income and flow. And I always see these things on Instagram, like, if you go back in time, what would you do? I think I would do, like, literally, because I really believe things are meant to be the way they are. But the only thing I would do is I'd go back to 2008 or 1993 and I would buy Amazing Fantasy 15, Action Comics #1. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Detective Comics 27. I would. That's it.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, I saw Man of Steel, and I started looking for the Death of Superman, Reign of Superman, and I just wanted to put that run together. But my favorite run of all time is the Infinity Gauntlet story. I love Thanos and the snap and the entire story. And so really, when I started going and hunting for those, that's when it's like, okay, I am collecting comics again, And so
you're back.
you guys this morning. I mean, obviously, Infinity Gauntlet run right there, but this has the snap in it, and it
Gorgeous.
so you can imagine how excited I was for the MCU to show Thanos
Right.
to lead up to Infinity War and Endgame. Like for me, it was a culmination, just like Episode 3, was a culmination of my Star Wars journey. Seeing
Sure.
why Vader became, Anakin became Vader. This was like the coolest thing ever. And even though Infinity War is a better movie, Endgame was a better movie experience for me just because it was the end of everything and of my childhood,
Sure.
of my comic collecting run, getting back into it in 2015, and just having all that come together. It was fantastic and probably the best movie experience I've ever had. And I don't know if it'll ever be that good again.
Well, I mean, it's predicated too on so much experience, both in books and in
Yeah,
theaters.
yeah,
You see that Cap lifting the hammer moment. You hear the on your left moment. There's so many things that occur in that movie where you're just like, I'm so glad I'm here for this. It's
yeah.
just so powerful. Um,
My kids are
uh,
making me the other day because they're like, "Dad, we really believe you cried your way through that entire movie."
it's harder to believe that people didn't.
Right, that's what I said. How did you not?
Oh man.
Yeah, but yeah,
Carlito-
so, I mean, once I did that, John, and I started collecting all those books, then my collection just took off.
Sure.
Yeah,
I will say too, like, one of the things that's always been my favorites that you did was when you were reading the Green Lantern with your son, and that the interaction you guys were having, because I had just started getting into it, and I was this is the Jeff John, for those that don't know, the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run. um and I was like excited to just see another dad, finding a book they hadn't read before. I wasn't collecting at that time. I wasn't reading at that time. How would I have known about this? And
yeah,
then being able to experience it with some friends, like obviously Matt Thanatos, and it was just kind of fun to see you and your son sharing that and going through it, because when those gaps occur, there's always great stories you miss out on. That's the beauty of, I think, this hobby, is there's always things you can go back and be like, oh, I didn't read Spider-Man during that era. I never read Ultimate Spider-Man or whatever it is,
oh yeah. There's so much to this day that I have not read
Sure.
that I'm just like, oh, I have so much to read. But then I'm like, yes, I have so much to read. And
But you
so
have so much to look forward to, right? That's how you got to think about it.
yes, and I really had a blast discovering Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. It was perfection, man. It's probably top 3 of my favorite comic reads of all time. And to do that with Timmy and with Matt and with you and everybody else that joined, guest on the show or was in the chat, it was just spectacular, man. And Timmy loves Green Lantern to this day because of that. So
That's fantastic. Get him hyped for the TV series or whatever it's going to end up being, whatever they're doing.
yes,
Because they got the Friday Night Lights coach as Hal Jordan, is what I'm hearing, right? The guy from the TV show. I can't remember his name.
yeah. I don't remember his name, but I can see him.
Carlito's with you. He's like, Endgame was peak theater going experience for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Rod, we don't need to shame Matt in his artistic abilities. You got to come in here. Not and flipping tables and stuff, Rod. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know that you need to be.
Let's see.
We were friends an hour ago, Rod. I don't know what happened.
That's right. A ton of things over the years here in my desk, and this
No
was
way. You've got it right there. This is hilarious.
Rod show. This JoJo drew this, and this is her saber dagger. So as seen on
So
the
good.
frame.
Oh my god.
Gotta keep-
He's like, I could call her. Hello, Christina. How's it going? Well, we got Rod laughing, if nothing else.
There you go.
All right, we're running a little low on time here at the end, so we've got time for a couple more questions to get to. Did you want to finish with the last one on your list? Is that what you had wanted to do?
And sure, yeah.
Okay, so then I'll do one other one before then. For me, the next question is really great because obviously we just lost Jim Shooter, and a lot of our maybe favorite creators are getting to an age where maybe they don't have a lot of cons left in them. George Perez not too long ago. So the question is, do you have any experiences you've had with comic creators or writers that meant something to you, or is there a creator or writer who has had a significant impact on your comic love?
Yeah, so I was grappling with this one because I had a really cool experience with Jim Shooter. I went to the Dallas, I think it's called the Road Show or something like that. I don't think it's the Fan Expo, but it could be. It's been years. But I went to this con and I was like the last person in line, and he was sitting there and we talked for half an hour. And I mean, he shared all the things that really frustrate him, you know?
He was like that. He was like that.
And a lot of those things frustrate me too. So we're like, oh, let's go, let's talk about it. We talked for a long time, and it was really cool. But I really enjoyed meeting Jim Starlin. Obviously, Jim Starlin had a huge hand in the Infinity Gauntlet.
Right.
That is the man that wrote that. He created my favorite villain, which is Thanos in the MCU or in Marvel, period, right? And so the book I'm sharing today is one of my favorite books that I've picked up because of how much I love Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos. And this is the first appearance.
Ooh. Oh, I thought that was the first Blood Brothers. Is that not?
It is that too, But this is a book that I just have been wanting to get for so long.
Crazy.
9/8,
If you guys don't know, this is the 9/8 white pages, guys. It's why I've only got 9/8 white page slabs behind me right now. I knew coming in here that who I was playing with. Dang, look at that grade. Holy cow. And it's the first, is it the first Drax too, right?
Yeah, first Drax, Blood Brothers,
Yeah.
and, obviously Thanos.
The man with the snap. Wow.
So we went to this con as a family when we first started my YouTube channel. And you can go back and look at the videos from, I think, 2018. And we met Jim Starlin. He hung out with us. He talked with me and my kids. I even had him do a little promo for the channel and stuff, and
That's cool.
so cool to get him to sign all these comics that I had since I was 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, to have him meet my kids and talk to them and tell them a little bit about characters and things. And then the best part is, because I love my kids so much, we're sitting in Endgame. And as we're watching Endgame, there's that scene where they're having like that AA, and they're all in the circle, and Jim Starlin is right there.
Yeah.
And so my kids, like, they look over at me like, Dad, that's the guy we met. Like, Dad, like, out in the middle of the movie, And I'm like,
that's cool.
Glad that you guys got to see, So I thought that was a really cool experience, just, all around, to meet him, talk with him from my childhood to my children's childhood, recognizing him in Endgame,
That's fantastic. That's a great story. That's fantastic. We got Nick's Kicks and Comics in here. What's going on, Nick? He's crashing in, gate crashing. Good to see you, buddy. And Lord of Brooklyn, what's going on, Lord of Brooklyn? Good to see you. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Oh, Christina's dropping the Boy Who Had Sevens link. As always, I appreciate you, Christina, for doing that. And the links are all in the description down below. And I mentioned at the top of the show, Matt's got a bunch of amazing comics for sale on his Instagram, which I also have linked down below.
Thank you.
Please buy some so that I don't have to buy them all, because I might be tempted to make some bad financial decisions. I'm just saying. So, okay, well then let's finish it out with question 10 here.
Sure.
Question 10 is, what are some of the proudest achievements you've had in your life? How did you struggle to make some of those accomplishments? Is there a comic grail you never thought you would own that you would like to share? The reason I ask this question is because I think sometimes it's so easy with, the social media age we live in to focus on the outcomes, right?
Yeah.
But not the work. It's easy to focus on, the achievement and not the challenge, right? And I think it's nice to hear people talk a little bit about, the joy they have in the hard work they put in on something. Yeah. So what came to mind for you?
Okay, I'm going to take you on a little journey with me.
Do it.
I said earlier, I'm the only boy in my family, so 5 sisters and me. In our church, which is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we receive the priesthood, which is the power of God to serve man on this earth, to be charitable, to help people, to bless people's lives, right? And in that service, we are commanded to go serve a mission. So I grew up, I'm going on a mission. That's what I'm going to do for God, for my church, for my family. That's my duty, right? And in high school, I met my wife. We fell in love. I mean, I was literally walking with my girlfriend, other girlfriend, holding her hand. And I saw my wife for the first time walk by me, and I was like, "Oh, that's my wife." Kid you not, John.
No
I was,
way.
and I could see
Wow.
my 7 kids were up there. Dad, they're kids. You know, you know what I mean? But I was like, oh my gosh, broke up with that girl as kindly as I could, in the next couple of weeks.
And as quickly as you could.
Right? And then went over and started dating a girl who had 7. But yeah, so we ended up getting pregnant my senior year, her junior year, right? And in our church, that's a big that you don't do that, right? Like you save sex till you're married, right? And so for my family, my parents, it was heartbreaking, man. It was like so hard for them to fathom our only son not going to go on a mission, just completely changed his life the way that we thought it was supposed to be. You know,
Sure.
I felt at the time, man, I let my parents down. I let my girlfriend down because I felt I knew better. I let God down. I let the people down that I'm supposed to go to their house and meet them in the future. Like I have let everyone down, John.
Did
And
you
I'll tell you
did you
what,
feel like did you feel like at the time you could see it as a test of some kind? Like or
not
not at
at
the
the time,
time.
John, because at the time it was just I was heartbroken.
Sure.
Like I
Because of the expectation of what you imagined your life to be versus what the reality was becoming in some ways.
exactly, and it kind of overwhelmed me, right?
Sure. I mean,
So
I would have to.
my wife and I, we had her family who are not members of our church, like do this, and my family that's like do this, and we decided at that young age, let's get married because we're in love, we're gonna have this child, and we're gonna move so nobody can tell us what to do. So I had saved up $9,000 to go on a mission because we pay for our own missions. It's everything. We're
Sure.
all in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I had that money. We loaded up a U-Haul trailer with our things, and we took off and we went to Utah, right? And my big sister lived up there. We moved in with her, and we started our life. And I ended up working 4 jobs. I was in the morning. I'd get up at like 3 in the morning, and Kmart by 4. I'd unload the truck. I'd stack the shampoos and the conditioners and the hair dyes, the beauty section. Then after that was done, I'd race home. I'd eat. I'd jump on a bus because we didn't have a car or anything, right? Super young, super poor, and I
Sure.
would take the bus and I'd go telemarket at this mortgage company, and I would try to get people to refinance their loans. And then after that, they're like, "Hey, we really like the way that you do this. We're going to train you to be a junior loan officer." So I started training to be a loan officer, right? And so I would stay and do that. And then I'd get home at night and I'd clean the apartment complexes when people would move in or out, right? And so I was working these 4 jobs just to make sure my wife and kids had food, right?
Sure.
And because I had no education, I had no other way of doing this, and this was the best I knew. So
Wow.
as time went on, man, I I started learning that life isn't about the moment that you're in,
Hmm.
because sometimes we get sorry.
No, this is big stuff. That's what I wanted to do with these conversations with community members is get a little bit beyond just the facade of the comic. And this is huge. I can't even imagine the pressure you must have felt both internally and externally in that at that time. And I'm sure your wife felt it too,
Oh, so much. She's trusting me now, you know what I mean? Like
right?
to take care of me. He's gonna do this, and I'm away from my family and everything I know.
Right?
But life isn't about that moment you're in. We often just get blinded by the fear, the pain, the pressure, whatever it is. And then you realize later that was so good for me. That made me into who I was. And that made
Hmm.
me the type of person that can help other people through that issue.
Sure.
Right. And so as time started going on, I realized I was never meant to serve a mission. Right. Like I really believe that God is there, John. I do. And I really believe that every single one of his children he loves, that's every person that's ever lived on this planet. And I really believe that he has their best interest at heart. And horrible, hard things happen to us because it makes us better, because it gives us experience. And when we're
Hmm.
able to get through that and look back, a lot of times we're like, wow, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but it did do A, B, and C for me. Right.
Hmm.
And so
Pressure makes diamonds, right?
that's right. That's exactly it. And so, man, as time has gone on, I've come to find that God knew I wasn't going to serve that mission, but he knew it was going to break my heart in a way that would push me to become a certain type of human being.
Hmm.
It would make me be a man that never wanted to fail like that again and never wanted to go back there. But at the same time, it would make me a compassionate, loving man so that anybody that went through that, I would be
Hmm.
the first person to put my arms around them and tell them that I love them and they're going to be able to do it. And so for the past 5 years, I've been called to be the bishop of my congregation. So for people that aren't familiar with that, that is like the priest, the pastor, right, is the person that is in charge of an entire congregation.
Amazing responsibility.
It's a huge responsibility, and it's something that I have just loved with
Because
every,
it's been a huge. I think you mentioned to me at some point that not only was it something you had wanted for a while, but also that you weren't expecting, like that you didn't know would become this. And then obviously now, what is it, 2, 3 years now you've been doing this?
5. Yeah, time flies, Jeff. Time flies. Yeah.
Okay, 5. You say 5, I'll say 3. Has I feel like this clearly is an example of that experience preparing you for this. Like this is what
Yeah,
you were geared for, right?
yeah. My whole life, I've just loved God, and I've loved family, and I've loved people, and I've just been able to just love people deeply. It's just a part of who I am. And doing this, serving a congregation of 990 people, and having to be with them.
You can't get that extra 10. Like, come on, make more kids. Can't
I,
get to that 1K. Get to
trying,
that
man.
1K for crying out loud, Matt. 10 people.
That's right. That's right.
Jeez.
But no, it's been incredible, John, and I've seen how God has used my pain, my
Hmm,
experience, and my heartbreaks to really just love people. You know,
sure.
and I've had kids come to me that are 18 and have royally messed up in different ways because I'm like a priest. I sit there and I listen to confession and I help people work through it, right? And
Sure.
I've had them come to me and they're scared, they're shaking, they're like, "Oh man, I'm about to tell this person like something that's horrible." And I get up, walk around my desk, and I put my arms around them and hug them, and I'm like, "I love you, and God loves you, and we're gonna get through this, and this is how we're gonna do it." And they're shocked because they're like, "Wait, aren't you supposed to be mad at me? Aren't you supposed to yell at me and tell me it's hellfire and brimstone?" And I'm like, "That's not the way it works,
No,
man."
because clearly they're doing that enough on the inside for
They are.
themselves, right? And
They
it
are.
feels like, I've had a lot of friends in those situations where it feels like it's impossible. It feels like it's the end. It feels like there's no way out.
Yeah.
And having somebody who's able to at least shine a little light of compassion makes a huge difference, finding that path.
Yeah. And for me, man, my answer is always the same. And for me, it's like, this is Jesus Christ. Let me introduce you to him and tell you how he can help you. Right. And so I try my best to take that light off and put it on him. And
Sure.
when I do that, so many people are blessed for it. Right. And I'll tell you this, that's at church as bishop. That's in my home. That's with my close friends and family. But I also have friends that don't believe in it. Right. And I'm still going to put my arms around them and say, okay, how can I help you? Or how can the things I know bless your life and help you? Because one thing that really breaks my heart, man, is when you have people that don't believe what I believe and then they persecute you for it. I've
Sure.
seen that too many times, whether you're a believer of a certain sect of religions, of Christianity, of a different religion, whether you don't believe in God, right? the more we try to persecute anybody because they believe different than us, the more we're doing things wrong, in my opinion.
Sure.
And so I think the more that we love people, put our arms around them, find that common ground, and just help them in whatever situation they're in,
Yeah.
that's what makes life better, right?
I mean,
And
because
so,
is there anything more universal than compassion, right? I mean,
no,
it's what binds across so many walks of life.
yes. And so, um, I'm mixing this with another of your questions. Like, who's the best teacher you've ever had? My dad is a hero to me. My mom is a hero to me. My savior is a hero to me. But
Well,
my
you got to have a good example
yeah,
to
yeah,
follow in
yeah,
some way, and I think that was the point of that question as well. But to achieve something, right, to accomplish something, you have to have somebody willing to give you that step up, give you
yeah.
that guidance, right?
And that's who my best friend in the world is, and that's the girl who had 7. I can't tell you how much I love that woman. I would not be who I am without her. And I don't even own this comic book.
I knew this would be the book. I knew this would be the comic.
This is
People
her.
asking, that's the whole point of the show. Where are the comics? There it is, gang. Holy cow. That's not a facsimile. That's not a reprint.
Yeah.
Damn.
You know,
I remember when you got this book. Or I
5
should say
years
when
ago,
she got
yes,
this book.
when she got seriously, John, 5 years ago, I had so many options with the amount of money that it took to buy this book, and I'm like,
Sure.
I want I want to buy my wife something that just she loves, and of course, it's gonna be mine 'cause she doesn't collect comics, but it's for her in the best way that I can, you know?
Yeah.
And, I got this book because she is the biggest Punisher fan in the world, guys. And, and yeah, I mean, it just for me, it just represents my greatest achievement in life is becoming one with the girl who had 7 and having our family.
Yeah.
My kids are good humans. They're good. They love people. They help people, and they have their problems, man. They have driven me crazy. You know how it is. And they've done the same things to me that I've done to my parents, where it's like, I thought your life was going to go this way, and then now it's in a completely different place, right?
Right.
But man, they're still the best people right here. And they're figuring out life. And because I believe it's not this moment, right, that's going to just destroy us, it's this
Hmm.
moment that's going to give them life experience, and everything will be okay. I truly believe that no matter what they're going through, it'll all work out.
Hmm.
And along the way, they will learn lessons, they will love deeply, and they will become better people on the other side. So my greatest achievement is my family, and I don't think there's anything greater than that I could do on this planet.
Brother, I mean, this is exactly what I wanted out of this chat, and you set the bar high as you always have in everything that you've done that I've seen from my little screen. I thank you for spending an hour and a half chatting life and comics and music and family and all these amazing things and faith and all of these amazing things that I know add up to the boy who had 7 in that amazing household. And I promise I'm going to get to Texas at some point and break bread with you and the crew at some point,
Yes,
because
yes,
I look forward to that in the future, my friend.
yes.
Um, as I've mentioned a million times, there are a ton of little links down below, and Christina has been dropping them in the chat, and I appreciate you doing that for us, Christina Payne. Matt, my friend, it's been too long, and this was absolutely wonderful. I appreciate you, and I know you've got to run off because it's Saturday. You got kids, you got sports. It's just the natural inclination of the weekend.
My niece is actually getting baptized today, and then sports start next Saturday.
Oh my goodness!
So excited
Wow,
about it.
that's very exciting for sure. So thank you to you for spending a little Saturday time with us, and the chat for hanging out with us. I've got more of these kind of interviews coming up. I've already reached out to a couple of people in the community, so there will be some more of these coming up here soon. But Matt, I appreciate you being the guinea pig test subject and this incredible conversation, man, because I thought I knew you, but I learned a whole lot more, and it was just it just made me love you even more, sir.
Thanks, John. I love you a ton, man. And not being able to be with the community so much because I was doing other things, it was hard because I miss you guys, man. I made friendships that all of a sudden it's like, okay, guys, I get to see you or talk to you every once in a while.
Sure.
But doing this today has just made me feel so happy. I can't explain it to you. So thank you for thinking about me, man, and inviting me to do this.
Of course, man. Top of the list, 100%. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will be back again. I will be back again next Saturday with another interview. So I'll see you guys next weekend.